Hello! Welcome back to another groovy episode of Shamullahcast. My name is Fairburn. I'm joined as usual by Josh and Frank, and today we're looking at the fifth installment of the Evil Dead franchise, Evil Dead Rise, written and directed by Lee Corrin. We haven't had an Evil Dead film for 10 years, and I was a fan of the last one, but I was looking forward to this when I saw the trailer, and personally I think the wait paid off. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, I'd say so actually, and the funny thing is, walking out of the cinema, I didn't really feel that way. I was a bit underwhelmed actually, but I think the pacing problems I had with the movie wasn't the pace of the movie itself, it's just a problem that I had. Like, my expectation going in that the movie would be a million miles an hour, and it wasn't. And then when I sat down and thought about it, let it dwell in my brain for a bit, I thought, well, you know what, it actually feeds the narrative quite well, it gives more development to these characters, and it also lets the suspense grow as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And, that's the scariest part, arguably. And I really like the fact that it doesn't sit down and use generic fucking horror tropes of today.
Yeah.
Like, if there's a jump scare, for example, if there's any that I can't think of off the top of my head.
I don't think there is.
They are scary things, rather than just random shit, like a cat walking past the camera. And I think it did a good job at just being a good horror movie.
Yeah, definitely. I think that it was a nice change of pace, pun not really entirely intended, that the pacing itself was kind of slower, because I mean the first two especially, even Army of Darkness bit, it is so in your face and it's throwing everything at the wall. I think it was nice that, I suppose even the 2013 one a little bit was.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be closer pace-wise to 2013, where once it starts, the movie does not give in, it's a roller coaster the entire way. With this one, the first act is quite slow, which I completely understand, and that's completely fine. You need to give these characters some development so you're attached to them, or at least somewhat attached to them. And then by the time you get to like the midway point and everything ticked off, there's a few breaks in between. Yeah. And I think that's where it kind of got a bit weird with me, and that's where I was like, I don't know. But I think that's more of a marketing problem. The trailer obviously marketed all the big shit. Yeah. So I had a feeling that it was going to be like that the entire time. But again, it was a problem yesterday. Now I feel much better about it, to be honest with you. I've slept on it. Yeah,
that's always important, isn't it? Frank, I know you, well, like me as well, you haven't got the biggest attachment to the Evil Dead franchise. What did you think?
Well, I'm going to be honest, this was the first Evil Dead film I properly watched before going back and watching the others. But I really loved it. I loved how goofy it was. I loved how gory it is. It's not even scary. It's a horror, but it's not scary.
I thought I think it's probably the scariest in the franchise, at least so far.
Yeah, by far, actually, I'd say. Like, the first one can be quite scary, I'm not gonna lie. 2 is just batshit in your face and crazy, obviously.
And the fifth was just fun.
Yeah, Army of Darkness is, like we just said, something that we would make.
Yeah.
Like, it is on brand with us. And I think we enjoy it. And I've said multiple times on record that it is my favourite Evil Dead movie, but Army of Darkness isn't really an Evil Dead movie.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, it was going to be called Medieval Dead, and then they changed that, so like it kind of differs itself even more, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, I suppose after the success of the second movie, there was more studio interference, which makes sense, and fucking PG-13 in Army of Darkness as well.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think was it PG-13? I think Sam Raimi was aiming. Was aiming for a PG-13.
Yeah.
And then because the fucking the cinema board, whoever they are, they got involved and were like, well, we don't like you or the Evil Dead franchise, so it's not going to be a PG-13, even though you wanted it to be. Because there's like no gore or anything in the third movie. Really.
No, not really.
There's a gusher of blood at the beginning.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
That's interesting, considering the fucked imagery you get in the first two, especially. And it's Sam Raimi. I didn't think
it's such an extreme, actually, that he shoots a deadite at one point, Ash now, and there's no blood.
Just kind of you're right, yeah.
Just falls to the ground.
At the start and everything, they're all flying about, there's no really blood or anything like that.
Yeah, so, and I think every other movie in the franchise lives up to the name of being Evil Dead.
Yeah.
And especially this one, to be fair. This one kind of pays homage to the originals and the 2013 one, I'd say, in quite a few ways. Like, Evil Dead has a great record of having good leads.
Yeah.
Ash, he's a final bloke, I suppose you could say, at a time where there were only really final girls.
I mean, still, even now, there's not that many.
And is it Mila in the
yeah, I think so.
She was great, her character was great, and she fucking persevered through her drug addiction. And now the aunt in this, which her name escapes me, I cannot remember.
I think it was L.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah, or either. Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
No, it's Beth, because the mum was Ellie.
Oh, right,
remember
okay.
the Deadite was calling her Bethy Boo?
Oh, right. Oh, yes, you're right. I was the other way around.
Like, only my sister can call me that, and he fucking
Only
destroys
my
her.
mother can call me that.
She said sister.
I said mother.
No, they were talking about the mother being a bad mother.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was his sister. Frog, what was the age rating for Army of Darkness? I saw you pulled it up.
Army of Darkness was rated an R, but
there you go.
Sam Raimi wanted it to be PG-13.
See, I would have thought that'd be the other way around.
So they fucked him, basically.
Yeah.
Because he was like, well, to be fair, I'm going to make it more marketable, I'm going to make it more for a broader audience.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I feel like it is too wacky for a broader audience. Like, I could not see general cinema goers watching that.
I think you've
like,
got to be a fan of that kind of shtick.
I was thinking in my head, right, like, how can you market that? Like, genuinely, though? Like, you call it an Evil Dead movie, and then it's... I know the second one's balls to the wall crazy, but, like, it's still gory and quite scary.
Yeah, it's still a horror at its
Army
heart.
of Darkness is completely, at its heart, a horror movie, a comedy movie.
Yeah, I'd say it's more comedy horror than horror comedy, if that makes sense. I mean, you know what the focus is. Alright, then let's talk about Ash, and we'll get into the others as well. Because he's quite an interesting character, because, like, you know, Ash is a huge fan base and stuff, and, like, people see him as a badass, which he is, but, like, I think what makes him so endearing is the fact that he is just such a tool. He is his own worst enemy.
He's a tool, and he has a bit of an ego on him.
Yeah.
But he does get shit done.
And I think he's a good person at heart.
Oh yeah, and despite thinking about all these, like, he thinks of himself in this high regard, he still just works in a supermarket. He doesn't care, and he enjoys it as well.
Yeah, he loves it.
You know what, though? I probably would want a bit of a change of pace after fighting demons for, like, flat out, like, 2 years.
Yeah,
and in the past, maybe I would, like, stock shelves for a bit afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, customer service isn't that bad when you face a living evil dead.
I don't know, mind. I'm in customer service.
But
I think I probably want to fight demons.
I've done it, but I felt like fighting demons, to be fair.
I'm slowly turning this into an Army of Darkness podcast, saying that he fights the Deadites and the forces of evil in Walmart, or S-Smart.
S-Smart. Shop smart.
Yeah,
Shop
yeah,
S-Smart.
at the end of that movie, when the Deadite rocks up,
Yeah.
and it's Hail to the King, baby. But I really enjoyed, like, the characters in the newest one, though, to be honest with you. Like,
yeah, I didn't really think I was going to care about them, but, you know, like, I didn't hate them.
Well, yeah, but I say they were good. I mean, like, I'd say, you know, we know for a fact that a third of them were just there to be cannon fodder, and that's completely fine, but the family themselves were all quite unique, and they all brought something to the family dynamic. And there's a scene quite early on where the smallest child, the little sister, is pissing off the older two. And then they just kind of have like a little bit of a giggle fight and they have a laugh.
Yeah, that was nice.
That was cute, you know what I mean? And it builds it up like that. So I'd say it sticks true to Evil Dead having good characters.
Yeah.
And being quite realistic as well. Well, I say realistic. Mostly realistic.
As much as you can get with a Book of the Dead that, you know, has a face and talks in some of them.
And I suppose you've got to write it for the tone of the movie as well. Like, obviously, Ash is going to be different to Mila, and she's going to be different to the characters in this movie because they've got to portray the traits for the tone of the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you couldn't say Ash in this movie. You know what I mean? It'd be cool.
I'd have liked to see it. Spoiler alert: he's not in it, but I wouldn't mind him rocking up.
Yeah, I wouldn't have minded it, but I feel like it's good that they didn't. Because if they do bring him back, at least we have that slow burn.
Yeah, exactly. It's something you should build up to, not just like pandering, because I think that's what so many franchises that have been revived these days do a lot.
Yeah,
and they have for the last couple of years.
And they market the movie on that.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't do that. Like, this movie was marketed as an Evil Dead movie.
And it is.
And they told you there would be no recurring characters from the past arriving in this.
Yeah.
And they stuck true to that. And they made you like the characters that you had in this.
Yeah, definitely. And you want to see what happens with their story if we see their
I
story.
also kind of like the fact, right, this is just a tiny thing, but this proves how good the writing is. They did a full 180 on me. Do you know when the neighbour rocked up, like the older guy?
Yeah.
I'm going to call him
Bruce.
Yeah, that
His
guy.
name was Bruce.
And I thought, oh, he's going to be a prick, isn't he? Guaranteed. And you know what? He was actually quite nice.
Yeah.
Like, they all have some camaraderie, you know, they live in the same shitty building. Why wouldn't they be nice to each other?
Yeah, exactly.
But it just shows how the writing does actually shine. And I'll tell you where the writing shines is the sisterly relationship between Beth and Elle.
Yeah, definitely.
And it makes me think as well, right? I was attached to this Ellie character, the mother, the Deadite, even the first one, and we got barely any of her.
Yeah, it was
she
more.
Was Deadite pretty much the entire time,
and she flipped seamlessly between the two as well. Like, you know, I don't really know the actress, but like, fair play to her. She's got some chops.
I really hope they all go on to do massive things.
Yeah, and I hope Lee Cronin gets more work as well, because this is like his big real things, so he must have been hand-picked,
Yeah,
especially.
I'm quite ashamed I haven't seen any of his stuff, to be honest with you.
Well, I hadn't heard of it until we looked them up, to be honest.
Yeah, neither did I.
Sorry to say, you know what I mean, I'm sure they're great.
I think he'd do well in stuff like Cabinet of Mysteries, that Del Toro show.
Oh, right, okay.
Like, where it's all each story is self-contained, and it gives you like an hour just to fucking throw whatever batshit horror story you want at the wall.
Yeah.
I think he'd do really well with that.
Nice.
I'd like to see him with a new IP, to see what he'd do with that.
Yeah.
Because if he wrote and directed this, he clearly knows what he's doing.
Yeah, and he must be a fan to do it this well.
And I want him to come back for a sequel, which I think we will get. But then also, it's like, I kind of like the fact that Sam Raimi hand chooses somebody that hasn't really done much before an Evil Dead movie, because he sees himself in them, and he's like, okay, I can see that you have good intent, and I can see you have a lot of talent, now just go ham.
And that's basically how he started, wasn't it?
Exactly, it's like the age of 20, what the actual fuck? How mind-boggling is that?
Younger than us.
I know. I read it yesterday, and it genuinely blew my mind. The fact that him and Bruce were literally going around house to house to people, like rich people's houses, and like, do you want to fund our movie? Do you want to be a producer credit? And they were like, well, not really. And they just kept doing it and doing it and doing it, and I think eventually they managed to get enough money together from their savings and family, and I think somebody may have put a bit of cash towards it.
Yeah.
And then they managed to make the first Evil Dead. I'm pretty sure though as well, one thing about that, one guy was like funding the movie, and he pulled out like 2 days before the shoot started.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, how fucking shit is that?
Jesus.
Horrific behaviour.
That is terrible, yeah.
Why? Why would you put all the hope and the dreams into there, and then just go, you know what?
I suppose he saw it as an investment, and he probably genuinely thought, maybe he didn't tell his wife. And then his wife got back and was like, where is like 100k gone from our savings? And he was like, I'm going to give these kids movie money.
And he was met with a rolling pin to the head.
Maybe that'll be us. We'll just go to houses and we'll be like, do you want to fund our movie? Do you want to fund our podcast?
We don't know what we're going to do yet, but we'll make something.
We'll have 3 mics there. But yeah, boys, so what would you say you liked about the movie, just being outright?
Alright, so for me, the cinematography was outstanding. I love the way it looked. I love that, like, it was all, like, everything was practically in shadows, but, like, a lot of films, maybe not so much now, but, like, maybe, like, the last couple of, like 10 years or so, everything wanted to be dark, and then they'd have an action scene, but you couldn't see what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, and I like shaky cam and stuff.
Yeah, I hate that. I'm glad that we've seen the end of that. And, like, there's a lot of camera movement and stuff during the action scenes, but you can see everything and you can feel it. And
yeah, like, say, for example, it's complete darkness, so to speak, but you can see a shape moving in the darkness.
Yeah.
That itself is scary.
Yeah, of course, yeah. You fear what you don't know. You're scared of the unknown or what you can't see. And then like, a claustrophobic set like that just enhances it. And, like, every, like, kill and every, like, hit and slash and... I just felt like there's a scene where one of the kids is a deadite and they're eating glass. I could genuinely feel that in my throat.
It's your worst fear, isn't it?
Yeah, throat trauma's not for me.
Oh, but she loved it.
Yeah.
I'll come back for more then.
I also loved how heightened everything was. And like I said to you both, this film is Sam Raimi up to fuck. Like, the floating deadites and the moments of like, elevated horror, which are kind of funny in itself, and then you think like, oh, that was kind of stupid, and then you look and you're like, this is a Sam Raimi produced film, of course it's going to be funny.
I think you find yourself laughing at the absurdity, but not so much like a proper, like, haha, it's more like a nervous giggle.
Yeah,
like you're looking at it like, ooh, what the fuck is, ooh.
And I did that a lot when we watched it.
Because the part of you was like, well, you know what, it's meant to be a bit obscene, isn't it? So maybe I'll give him a giggle.
Yeah.
Like I said to you too, like, the switch flipped for me, where the deadite mother bit someone's eyeball out and spat it into somebody's throat and he choked to death on the eyeball. Which is a reference to itself in Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
Where Ash jumps on the deadite's head and then his eyeball pops out and lands in somebody's mouth. Like, and you know what, talking about the references actually, like, there are so many in this, but they don't beat you over the head with it. It's more for the fans rather than being like, it's not like the camera will pan over to something and be like, do you remember this?
Yeah. And, it's as if, like, saying groovy or hail to the king or any shit like that. Like, I think that would have just been a bit much. Like, they're slapping you in the face.
Small things that fans would notice. Like, at the end, this is a tiny little detail, but I saw them, like, they panned over and they kind of, like, dwelled on, like, a number 5 on the wall, and I was like, oh, that's probably because it's the 5th one. Like, it's just small things, isn't it, that you would look at and go, nice.
I think, now that we talk about it, I think the very end, when we see that woman in the car park, and she turns around and she gasps. I'm pretty sure that's a reference to the end of the first one when Ash leaves the cabin.
Oh yeah, and then Sam Raimi's riding on the bike with the camera on the front, right through the entire cabin.
Yeah, that image is just...
Oh, I must have heard in real life. So imagine if you had to do multiple takes.
It didn't hurt as much as Sam's stick of fury when everyone wasn't acting as much as they should have on set.
Well, I imagine when Bruce Campbell's changing costumes, if he was allowed to, people would be asking, why have you got so many bruises? He's like, well, ask Sam. I was a bad boy.
Frog, was there anything you wanted to say about what you liked or wanted to add?
Actually, yeah, there was one scene I did enjoy. When she's in the bath.
Yeah.
You put her in the bath to cool her down, and then all of a sudden she jumps up, she's like lashed onto the wall like a spider. That was just weird.
I had a thought in my brain during that scene. The water was bubbling.
Yeah.
I assumed it was boiling, and I thought when she fell into the water, she's going to come out of the view looking disgusting.
Yeah.
I thought she's going to come out of the view with it fresh peeling off. And then they went in a different direction. You know what? It was even scarier. And it was just like, oh, is that my mum? No, mum's with the maggots, thank you very much. Your mother is dead.
And the kid's like, I'll just get some ice. I don't think ice is going to help you.
I don't think it's going to help anyone.
Yeah.
What is it, a school nurse?
Yeah. I think you can go home with it.
They push the point home that like anyone that is a deadite in this, they are not going to be human again.
They're not coming back, no.
There is no chance of that. And I think we all share the same opinion, actually, that maybe they're going to do some magic spell and then it's all going to be nice and happy.
I thought they were going to destroy the book and then everything would go back to normal and they'll all forget about it. No, that doesn't happen.
They even draw attention to that in the movie where the sister is like, I'm going to go and listen to this record, maybe there's something that can help. And the priest is just like, no! Run! There's nothing you can do!
I fucked up, they've killed us all!
Actually, now you said about the priest as well, that was a really good scene. When they started playing the record backwards. Also, you said this as we left the cinema as well.
Yeah.
It's called the Book of the Dead. The priest brings it to the Vatican or church, whatever the fuck he is, and all the other priests and fathers are like, no, do not read it, do not open it, put it back.
They even say what you said. They're like, it's called the Book of the Dead for a reason.
I'm imagining the scene of Green Day with the Lakers eating their barge. The guy with the Book of the Dead is Green Day in that situation, and all the other priests are just throwing shit at him. Like, are you fucking insane?
He deserved that though.
Oh, he so deserved it.
I hope he died painfully. Those other maybe they did because they're priests, but let's just say for good thing.
Hellfire!
But maybe they didn't deserve it.
And they brought up the point as well, in other movies you can kill deadites, there are ways, in the 2013 one it's dismemberment, burial and flames. You can't cure them, but it's the only way to get rid of a deadite, so to speak. But the priest says it on the record, and he's like, no, I've tried all that, and they literally just laughed at me.
I wanted to talk about that actually, because speaking of that, and the originals, and Mila actually, they kill deadites in all of the other ones, obviously, and then Mila turns back to human, and then obviously that can't happen in this one, so does each different book represent a stronger version of a deadite? Are these demons more powerful with every volume?
Are certain demons linked to certain volumes of the book maybe, and each one has different spells and so on, and they never go into the spells, each book just releases deadites, don't they?
Yeah, so it's never even, I don't even think they knew this in the originals, so that's my headcanon anyway, that's what I'm going to assume.
Yeah, because even though the deadites all act similar, they are still different though, in each movie. Yeah. This one is very serious.
Yeah, these ones they're here for business, they're gonna fuck you up.
And then they're more akin to the 2013 ones, they're very serious, while the original ones will torment you as long as humanly possible, and if they even kill you at all.
Yeah, I was gonna say, maybe a sprinkling of murder chucked in. See, it depends how they feel.
Exactly, it depends the day.
Yeah.
If they had coffee that morning, maybe not.
Yeah. They might be in a better mood, they might be more awake. They can start their day off right with a balanced breakfast.
Well, the freshmen have killed
it. So, is there anything else you two want to do? Talk about the film, what you like, what you didn't like, and then we can go over to the originals a bit more.
I wanted to talk about the gore in this. I thought the effects were amazing, and I couldn't pick out any CGI, really. I'm assuming it was used, but that's when CGI should be used, though, in the sense that it enhances a scene. It shouldn't be the scene, though.
Yeah, it should blur the lines between practical and effects, I think. Well, digital effects.
And Evil Dead is well known for using pretty much all practical effects.
And you told me this as well, the 2013 one used pretty much all practical effects.
Yeah, when it comes to the bodies and the gore and stuff, it was all practical.
Yeah.
And you can see it. It feels visceral and it looks like it hurts.
And especially for the 2010s, that's rare.
I know, and especially when you consider the fact the 2010 era was a big thing to have CGI blood in everything. And it just does look bad.
CGI knives in Scream 4.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
You know what? No wonders we don't like Scream 4.
It just looks like shit.
They go, do you want a bit of Vaseline on your legs? Do you want to put that there? Do you want characters that you're not going to like? Alright then, fine, I guess we'll have to take it.
That's just the 2010s for you.
When's the next one out? 10 years? I guess we'll take it. We'll take it. But yeah, I thought the goal was really good. I like the fact that, like, every hit, every blow, like you said, you could pretty feel it. Like you can. I think it helps because you can imagine yourself in that situation. Like when they put the cheese grater on their leg, I was like, oh
yeah,
oh no.
Galbraith right at the top. And I remember seeing that in the trailers, and I thought even like, fucking hell!
It's only the first bit of gore we see in the movie, isn't it? And I think that sets the scene.
It's straight off the bat.
Oh yeah, the bar is there. It's like, okay, so if that's the beginning, what the fuck is going to happen later?
I think that's why I like the break so much, because it takes its time in places, but when it's going, it's there.
Oh, it really
like,
is.
You're not going to be disappointed.
Maybe I'm just a bit greedy. Like, I wanted that little bit more.
Yeah.
But, like, you're never going to 100% love a movie, are you? And I think that's where I'm at. Like, I still really liked it, though. I'd give it, like, a solid 7 or 8 out of 10, I'm going to be honest.
Fair, yeah.
I'll be honest, I'll sit around there.
That's a pretty strong... I probably wouldn't disagree.
I'm leaning towards 8, to be honest with you, but I'd say 7 because of the pacing issues slightly, and that's it. And like I said, they're not even really issues, it's just a me issue, rather than a movie issue. Because no one else seems to have that issue.
That's fair enough.
So maybe, like I said, my expectations probably just a little bit too high.
Well, you know... You can't fault how you feel.
I really like the humour as well, because it's not outright humour, it's not like they're making jokes.
Yeah, they're not like goofy characters.
It's like winks at the camera, so to speak, isn't it? Like, I think we talked about this, the fact that when they're trying to take the mums to the hospital, and then the son goes to the stairs, and he's like, the stairs have just gone. Like, even the character realises how ludicrous that is.
I think that would also be a reference to the fact that in 1 and 2, Ash goes to leave, and the bridge is gone.
Even the bridge looks evil.
Yeah.
Like, it's just shit like that, though, isn't it? Like, winks at the camera, and Sam Raimi himself is really good at that, and you can see that the writer and director of this studied that and put it in this movie.
It's almost as if the film is like, I know, this is some crazy shit, right?
Like, the elevator's fucked, as we know, obviously. Yeah. Because the mum was dead-eyed in there. And they were just bullying her in that elevator, weren't they?
Just knocking her about, screaming in her head.
Ripped her earring out. Just ripped it out. I'm not gonna lie, I thought she was gonna clock it, even though it wasn't there. That's one thing I've always thought about, right? You know, like in the originals where Ash is running away from, like, you know, the unseen force.
Yeah.
Unseen to that's in the fourth wall, obviously. But, like, he keeps turning around. Can he see what is there?
I imagine they're in his head and they're in his ear, because they've got like low-level reality kind of manipulation.
Well, the book has reality manipulation, doesn't it?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Knows, maybe.
So, like, I suppose, like, if they're closer to the book or whatever, or maybe they've got it too, because obviously when they're present, they haven't got that as much, have they? Yeah, if at all.
And speaking about the cinematography, I love the fact that they did use, so to speak, the Sam Raimi Dead-Eyed shot, I suppose, or the Evil Dead shot, I think they'll call it, I suppose.
Yeah.
You know, the fucking... The flying demon going in between shit and just...
Oh, yeah.
Like, it looks like they're just on coke. And I'm like, I am so excited to terrorise some people, it's going to be awesome.
They really love their craft. You gotta give respect to that, I suppose.
Oh, really?
Well, when you're trapped in a book for what, like 2,000 years, you gotta be excited to finally be released.
And kick the shit out of some
people.
people.
Being trapped in a book can give you a very big crick in the leg. To be fair.
10 for 10,000 years specifically.
Okay, so if you want to go into the other ones, guys, what would you say is your favourite out of the original? We'll go on the original trilogy first. What would you say is your favourite?
Mine will probably have to be Army of Darkness.
Are you in the same boat as me, where again you love it, it's just not an Evil Dead?
Yeah, it's not an Evil Dead. The way it starts off is so different as well. Like straight from the bat, like it just doesn't feel like an Evil, because you've got like Ash's narration. There's a bit more story. There's a bit more going on. It feels like some sort of thing. It feels like a TV movie of something else.
No, it really does feel like a TV movie, actually. Like a proper 90s TV movie.
Yeah.
It feels like... I want to say it's what Sam Raimi wanted to do the entire time, but I feel like it's not what he wanted to do with the Evil Dead franchise. It's one of the kind of movies he wanted to make, but because he had the Evil Dead in his back pocket and he knew that would get made, he was like, what if I just put the Evil Dead name on this, and then we'll go with that.
We'll get a bit more traction.
Like, obviously, they retconned at the end of their... second movie rocks up to the 1500s or whatever time period it is, and everyone's like, yeah, we love you, Ash, but they retconned that to being like, no, you're
my
a demon.
name is Ash Williams and I'm a slave.
You know what, I kind of like the fact that Ash in the Army of Darkness plays up his intelligence as well. Like, he knows he's not a smart bloke, but he knows that he's smarter than them because he has the technological prowess of having a shotgun.
Yeah, and he manipulates them, doesn't he? Like, he gets the shotgun, he's like, if any of you primates want to touch me, right, your head's going to get blown off, and then it cuts and he's being, like, worshipped and fed grapes or some shit.
Yeah, and also I was thinking about this while watching Army of Darkness, right? So this is, like, straight after Evil Dead 2. His girlfriend died in that, didn't she, obviously?
Yeah.
Dead-eyed up the fuck, destroyed, whatever. And he is just a player in Army of Darkness. He's having the whale of a time. He's just has women lusting after him everywhere he goes.
It's just pillow talk, baby.
Which, to be fair, Bruce Campbell is a handsome lad. Even these days, he's a handsome fella.
Yeah, to be fair, he's a good-looking bloke. Frank, what would you say is your favourite of the original trilogy?
I gotta go with the first one.
Yeah?
Yeah, I just love how goofy it is. I know I said that about this film, but that one is just pure slapstick.
That is balls to the wall.
I'd say 2 is probably the goofiest, really. I'd say 1 is closer in tone to the newest one, if I'm honest with you.
There is genuine suspense as well. That did kind of surprise me when I rewatched it.
And the first one has micro budget, like nothing when you compare it to movies at the time, or even now, completely nothing. And they went for it, and it worked out. To be fair.
Yeah.
And I'd argue the Deadites are even scarier in the first one because they have that really weird, like, uncanny look to them. Like, yeah, they're human, but like,
they
not
have
quite.
Weird blue tint, don't they? Like what is it? Is it Dawn of the Dead?
Oh yeah, actually, that greyish look to them, and like, and it, it looks cheap, yes, but again, it adds to the fear of it. Like, those contact lenses are fucking terrifying, and no one could see out of those contact lenses either.
Oh really?
Yeah, pretty much everyone was completely blind when they had them in.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
How did they pull off all those stunts then?
Memory. No, literally memory. They'd have to memorise it when they didn't have them in. They put them in and they'd have to hope for the best.
Oh, Jesus,
like a lot of it was just on the fly. They were like, Sam Raimi was literally like, just fight. He's like, what I wonder of the scene is, Ash gets beaten up and I want the dagger to like kind of go into him.
Just hurt each other.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, I'll hurt all of you.
And they, fucking hell, for a 20-year-old to have that much power, I've just realised the fear that he held over its cast and crew.
He must have been a pretty big stick, because he's not a scary-looking man.
must have had a skull on it. Yeah. Like the Gandarian dagger, who knows?
At least scary-looking now.
Yeah. Alright then, so what do you guys think about Ash versus the Evil Dead?
I'm split down the middle, like completely down the middle, and I can't even fully explain why. Like, I like it, and I like the fact it's made to look cheap, just like the original movies, the original 2 even. I like the fact that Ash is... Bruce Campbell didn't miss a beat. He is still playing Ash very well.
He knows that guy inside out.
I like most of the new characters. I love Deadites, obviously. I think it's cool. I love the fact that they are canon fodder in Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Do you know what I think it could be? I think it could be the wrong format for the Evil Dead.
I'd say it very much is. Like, movies, obviously, you can build up the suspense for an hour, and when that one and done then, isn't it? It's over. But, like, you can't really drop suspense over, like, I don't know, like a season. It just doesn't feel right. Like, you have to have cut-off points, and you have to have what's the word I'm looking for? Cliffhanger.
Oh right, yeah.
You know what I mean? They have to build up to that. That's just in your bread and butter when you have series, don't you? To keep you coming back for more.
I think what it is, because the films are such short bursts of just manic energy, I think you can't really sustain that over 3 seasons.
I agree.
I think like Army of Darkness is probably like the longest, at least at the time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? For the films and the shows.
I also feel like Bruce Campbell's presence maybe hindering the show a little bit. He's a lot in the sense that no one can really stand up to his acting prowess and the legendary status he's built as Ash as well.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah.
But then people have watched the show if Ash wasn't in it, though.
No, definitely not.
Like,
I wouldn't have.
That's the only reason I watched it.
Yeah.
So like it does well with what it's given, though. I think it is okay, but it also meanders a lot as well.
Yeah, I suppose it does. But like I said, I think over 3 seasons you're bound to. Frog, I know you enjoyed Ash vs. Evil Dead, didn't you?
I did. I'm going to be honest, I probably enjoyed it more than the films.
I was a little bit sad, though, I will say, that the show got cancelled rather than was allowed to finish its arc.
Yeah, and it was even more sad is now Bruce Campbell says he's done playing Ash as well.
No, he's not.
I was going to say, I think if he's got this much involvement... Because he's still involved, he still produced the Evil Dead Rise and Evil Dead 2013.
He produced all of them.
Yeah. So, like,
nuts,
he clearly has a love for it, and I mean, he was gonna voice Ash in MK11, and then that got scrapped, and then he played him in the game again, and he promoted that.
Maybe it's the physicality of the role that he just can't do anymore.
Yeah, because he's getting on now. He's like
70s. Yeah, he's
mid-60s.
Pull that shit up for him. Because think about this. Think about the physicality of 2 and Army of Darkness, right? There's a lot of stage acting with it. So,
okay.
You know what? It's not too bad.
It's alright. He's only 4 years older than Tom Cruise.
Yeah, and Tom Cruise does it all the time.
Yeah.
Then again, he has the blood of an alien. So.
What were you saying?
So Evil Dead 2 and obviously Army of Darkness, there's a lot of physicality to the character in that, and that's what makes Bruce Campbell shine in those movies, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's shit that he's doing, like he's doing his own stunts. Like, he grabs his shoulder and does a front flip as if a ghost has thrown him or something. Like, that shit is crazy. You can't be doing that at 64.
Yeah, exactly. I was watching Army of Darkness, and I was thinking, Ash, when he's fighting Evil Ash, well, any of the time, he is both of those, and they're doing kicks and flips and all this shit, and so it was tiring me out just watching it.
And I think we were all quite shocked to find out that Evil Ash is played by Bruce the entire time as well.
Yeah.
It's quite funny actually, because you'd think they would just dub in, they'd stick someone else in the suit and they just dub in with Bruce Campbell. But no. Bruce was like, I'll do it. It doesn't bother me.
He's a true actor.
He is.
Yeah, and I was saying, sorry, I kind of spun off a bit, but it's very theatre-esque the way that Bruce Campbell portrays the character. There's a lot of physical stuff, because obviously you need to project yourself on stage, don't you?
Yeah.
And think about it in the second movie, it's just him because his girlfriend has died. He is a one-man show the entire time.
Yeah, definitely.
And you can tell the cabin is a set, and it's one area, and it's he's a one-man show.
Yeah.
And he carries
it is just him, and just a couple of prosthetics. Yeah.
And he carries it like a motherfucker. Carrying the franchise, even.
Speaking of, Bruce Campbell has gone on record to say, since Evil Dead Rises released, that the franchise is wide open, so I imagine they're open to sequels, and they're open to stuff like that. So what would you two like to see out of the Evil Dead?
Go back to the medieval era for me, as in I want to see when the book was written. I want to see what mayhem ensued.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's.
I want to see who wrote the book. I'm imagining some sort of devil worshippers.
Yeah,
but that'll be cool.
Where they get all that shit and the know-how to put all those spells in.
Who was the demon, or the demons even? Who were the demons that were feeding this information to these humans?
Yeah,
the occult. You know what I mean? And it was called the Dark Ages for a reason. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
there was some horrible shit happening.
The groovy time to live in.
And you could even go along the route like it was in Army of Darkness, where Deadites were just around, and because all these cunts were just performing all of these spells willy-nilly.
Yeah.
And maybe there's a lot of terror and mayhem absolutely everywhere, and maybe that's why everything is, it's the Dark Ages at the end of the day. What about you, Frank?
I would like to see Bruce Campbell come back as Ash, but I want him to come back and be like, right, for fuck's sake, I've done this too many times now. We will sort this out once and for all. We will sort the books out, and nobody will do it again. And then the end credits scene is someone opening the box.
That's just the end.
You know what? I'd quite like that actually. Why don't you dump the books in the ocean?
Because that's not going to get rid of them.
That's when the Atlanteans find it.
Yeah, but you can't.
That's when Nemo.
Yeah, you can't destroy them regardless. So just dump them in the ocean in the Mariana Trench. James Cameron finds them.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I can make a movie about this.
No, James, please.
James is gone. There's only Midge. I would like to see Bruce Campbell. It's probably unlikely, but if we don't, I would like to see Mia return, or Mila. Or...
Is it Mia or Mila? I've been saying Mila the entire time.
I think it's Mila. From Pull That Shit Up.
Is she this in the second film?
2013.
Yeah, 2013. But yeah, Kevin, I'd like that. Kind of like a best hits, so to speak. You could have Beth from this one, you could have Mila, and you could have Bruce Campbell in it.
Yeah.
And they'd all do an amazing job.
They all sort the individual book out that they find.
Oh yeah.
That'd be fucking sick,
yeah, they can destroy them all at once.
And they could have more of an original tone then, like Army of Darkness. They could have 3 divergent plots.
Yeah, that's true.
And then they all get a time to shine then as well.
Because Mia was meant to.
It's Mia.
It's Mia.
Hey, take it back, everyone. It's Mia.
It's Mia. So Mia was originally going to be Bruce's daughter, wasn't she? So maybe if they ever did come back, maybe they could have found each other, and maybe they're working to find the Necronomicons volumes 1, 2, and 3. Because there's Deadites about now at the end of this.
Yeah, and that shit's going to cause some trauma. You aren't just going to go back to normal life after that.
Yeah, no, exactly. You're going to be on the road looking what else you can fuck up.
You just murdered the manifestation of your heroin addiction.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
Alright? And even for Beth in this, I imagine she'll go on to have a kid. Or what's to say she's not going to go on and try and defeat the darkness once and for all because she doesn't want to bring a kid into the world where this shit happens.
Yeah, exactly.
By chance.
Yeah.
Literally by chance.
Yeah, they found that book by accident.
And like, so maybe she's going into it. Obviously, you could say then on the other hand, she could pull a Sydney in Scream 6 and be like, well, I've got a kid to look after now, and my niece, so I am just going to go over there, away from you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Maybe you could make her the hesitant hero then, though. Maybe Bruce Campbell and Mia are like, well, I think you could come with us to sort this problem out.
He's like, I'm 64, you think I'm going to be doing this?
So do you understand how many times I had to retire and come back to do this? And I found it quite interesting as well that obviously Ash was meant to be in the 2013 one, not played by Bruce Campbell, played by the boyfriend character of Mia.
Yeah.
And then Bruce Campbell was like, I like the idea, but I'm not ready to let go of the character yet, so you just do what you can with what you're given.
I think I would have preferred that, because then I suppose it would have been a full-on reboot of the first one.
Yeah, and obviously Bruce Campbell did come back in that movie technically. His name credit, he literally just says groovy.
Yeah.
He was in this one as well, actually.
I've read this, but I don't know where.
He, on the record.
Yeah.
He's one of the other priests saying destroy it.
For fuck's sake!
He was probably that one. He definitely was.
Boys, for fuck's sake, destroy the book.
Maybe
that's interesting.
You know what, a spin-off around that could have been pretty good as well, to be fair.
I like that. Okay. Well, while we're on this topic, like, obviously I wouldn't like to see this now because everyone's too damn old, but I would have really liked to have seen the sequel to Freddy vs. Jason, the idea that they had that Ash was going to come in and sort them both out because they just were unleashing the depths of hell.
I wouldn't have minded that, and also fucking anything just loves throwing Ash into it as a crossover.
Because it works.
Yeah, the Marvel Zombies are Deadites.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because of an Ash.
Yeah. Does he beat them in the end? I don't think I've read that.
I'm pretty sure Ash dies in Marvel Zombies.
Yeah, I was going to say, I imagine he gets...
He rocks up before it all starts, obviously.
Yeah.
And the heroes are like, you were just a psycho. You were just nuts. He was like,
Yeah.
no, you fools. Do you think I'd cut my own hand off for no reason? Like, that is exactly what I think you did. But like you said, they were going to put him in that.
Yeah.
It's just, he's had countless crossovers.
They did have a comic line of Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash. But there was a comic line of that. And Freddy was going to use the Necronomicon to gain to be an all-powerful being, and he was going to just fuck up Jason.
So he was
going to
trade out some sperm demons for real demons, basically.
Yeah, like the big dogs.
Or maybe Freddy would have looked like Hell Freddy from Freddy vs.
Yeah,
Jason.
that would have been cool. I think he does look like that at some point. I haven't read that myself, but I've read about them and stuff. And Freddy's glove is in the cabin.
But that's what I mean about the references in this franchise. They do a good job of going, well, if you see it, that's cool. If you don't, it's not going to affect your movie-going experience at all. But then people like us, where we do that scene from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. We go, there it is. Which is cool because obviously Evil Dead was in from Nightmare. But right, Nancy is watching Evil Dead 1 in the first Nightmare movie.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. And Jason is technically a Deadite.
Yeah, because the Necronomicon is blatantly in it, and that was the actual prop as well, not just remade. They borrowed it off with either Sam or Bruce. I'm not actually sure.
I think the glove was the actual prop as well in the first one, or the second one when I was in. Yeah, so like, I mean, the good thing with Evil Dead is it has just such an open door for other franchises. Like, I probably wouldn't want to see that now because I think the tones of the newer ones have kind of set that like.
A precedent of being more serious.
Yeah, and like I couldn't really see Freddy go like, hello.
Speaking of in Hollywood, all these people being friends or like paying homage to each other.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Sam Raimi lived in a house doing the filming of Evil Dead 2 with a lot of big celebrity names, and they were all giving him insight on what they should do.
Oh, really?
Frank, you're gonna have to pull up the names because I'm sure boys is gonna knock your socks off. Because I read it yesterday and it's escaped me and I'm an idiot.
What we're looking at?
Basically, doing the filming of Evil Dead 2, Sam Raimi was living with a bunch of celebrities. I don't know what you're going to type in for that, but either way, you
what
find
celebrity friends does Sam Raimi have?
But yeah.
Not Tobey Maguire.
You know what, it's really nice so that like they're all...
Beating him senseless.
He's gone. It's nice that they're paying homage to each other and like respectfully as well.
Yeah.
Like it's just nice that behind the scenes they're thinking, oh, I like your movies, or I like your movies too.
Put them in each other.
Yeah.
I suppose that's what we would do.
That's exactly what we would do, except we wouldn't do it in the way where you could avoid it. We'd be like, look!
This is canon!
Look at my friend's beautiful face! It goes stunning he is. He's not like a deadite at all.
And then we play Deadite.
Even if you were Deadite, you'd be stunning. Right? Any luck there, Frank?
It's just telling me that Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell are still friends. I know they're still friends,
well, yeah,
but they're still doing the fucking movies.
It's alright, unfortunately, to the 18 people listening, you're going to have to find that yourselves, unfortunately. Maybe I'll put it in the description. But believe me, the names are very interesting.
We'll get back to you on that. I think the last thing I'll add, the only thing I would to see is, like, let these franchises cross over. I think we talked about this in Mortal Kombat. I would love to see, like, a game of some sort where all... I mean, like, if licensing was an issue, because, like, you know, Hollywood is famously selfish with stuff like that, but I'd love to see Freddy and Jason and Ash and whoever and Chucky, right. We all in the same game having it out.
It'd be great.
Yeah.
They did do a game, didn't they? Terrordome. They wasn't very good.
Yeah, but that's not really like a real fan game.
Yes, fan game. But I will say though, I think that the Hellraiser franchise would cross over very well with the Evil Dead franchise.
Oh, okay.
Because the Hell Priest and stuff, they're all kind of Deadite-esque.
Yeah.
They're all very put together, though they're not really insane.
Yeah.
But maybe you could say that the Hellraiser franchise. He made maybe the Deadites first, and they were a bit too much.
So he's like, get out! You go to this book. You're annoying the test off of me.
He sent them all away, and he created his fucking Hell Priest and whatever, and they do the job very well.
I think what works so well is that Deadites are just a species of demon. Oh, Frank.
I think it's called Leviathan, is it? Try to read that.
Leviathan.
Leviathan. I think that Deadites are, they're just essentially a species of demon, so I think it could just work with pretty much anything, really, and I think that's why Ash pops up in other places, because, I mean...
Yeah, you could just vaguely say, oh, that's a Deadite.
Yeah.
And to be fair, Jason does attribute quite a few Deadite traits, to be fair.
He just doesn't talk.
Yeah, well, he's never talked, does he? So I suppose that would be why he doesn't bring it over when he becomes a Deadite.
I don't want to see him talk either. I'd rather see Michael talk than him.
Oh my god, yeah. Freddy's the only one with the tongue.
Yeah.
Wonders Freddy's the fan favourite. But I'd say we've done a pretty good job at covering the new movie, boys, and the previous ones, to be fair. Is there anything that's like lingering in your minds that needs to be said to our adoring audience?
Put Ash in Mortal Kombat.
Yes!
Because licensing issues gone the way, because each one of the original trilogy is owned by a different studio.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so it had to be Evil Dead Ash 1 or 2 or 3. Yeah.
Well, speaking about crossovers on games as well now, well, Ash is in Dead by Daylight.
Oh, yeah.
And most of the Dead by Daylight games keep the stories pretty good with their crossovers. They're like, it is canonical, but it's in such a way that you can still have your stuff and we can have ours.
Yeah, I think that's the way to do things.
The thing is with the Dead by Daylight franchise, though, is the fact that once you're in the fucking universe, you don't really escape. Even if you escape, you just play another game straight after.
Yeah.
So like, is Ash there forever now? Is that the end of Is that the end of Ash?
That's why he's done, because he's just constantly there. And the new Evil Dead game, that's essentially a clone, isn't it?
Yeah, actually,
so he just can't escape.
Yeah. So canonically speaking, right? I'm pretty sure
he's been tormented for the rest of time.
Yeah. And obviously the game came out after Ash vs. the Evil... Not really, his DLC came out after Ash vs. the Evil Dead. So is that the final chapter in Ash?
Well, as we know with horror, every time it's called the final chapter, it never really is.
And it's the final chapter of this section.
Yeah.
We've got 10 more chapters to go. 5 more volumes, actually, thank you very much. Anything you want to chuck on, Frog?
There's one thought that was lingering around my head, now you've said about that. You know how Ash is going to be tormented by these Deadites forever?
Yeah.
What if when he dies, he goes to hell, and he meets Doom Guy? And then they're all just fighting all the fucking Deadites.
That'd be cool. Again, there's possibilities.
That could be fine as well, yeah. So it could all cross over, because it's all like vaguely hell, demonic, and evil. Do you know what I mean? Although I think Doom Guy's kill count would be a little bit higher than Ash's, though, to be fair.
Just the town.
He'd kind of make Ash a bit redundant, although he could be the good comic relief.
Ash would be like, well, you just do this, do you? Yeah.
Like, okay, let's go, and then just carry on with the Doom.
And then Isabel joins in from Animal Crossing, because they're best friends, aren't they?
I think it came out on the same fucking day as Doom Eternal. And both fanfares just came together, like...
Yeah, unity.
Come together.
I think Hollywood could learn a lot from Doom Guy and Isabel.
Exactly. We've learned a lot from this, that's why we're making this podcast.
Exactly. The real Shamullahcast was the friends we made along the way.
I hate the pair of you.
And on that closing note, we've been Shamullahcast. Thank you for watching. We know you have a choice of listening to 750,000 other podcasts, and we thank you for listening to ours.